deserts of Sudan and the gardens of Japan, from Milan to Yucatan. Every woman's, every man. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me, hit me.
Hello and a warm welcome to the Barstew's Inquiry Sunday Sermon. What an action-packed show we've got for you this week. Plenty of talking points and some interesting thoughts on the racing review, I can promise you this week. Before we start the show, though, I'd like to pay tribute to a certain Vincent Donnelly. He's one of our listeners. Sadly, he passed away on the 17th of April. One of our listeners, Rory, was fairly close to him, so massive condolences to the family, and obviously because you were a Barstew's listener, you will be sorely missed. Anyone that's popping the clogs means we get one less listener.
Well, yes, let's emphasise the real downside, which is that we lose a listener rather than the man that's passed away.
But rest in peace, Mr. Vincent. A sad note, I bet we dedicate this show to you.
On Hitler's birthday today, it's and the anniversary of the Columbine massacre. Just to leaven the mood further. And it's also the day after, right? This is good. This is the day of yesterday. It was the anniversary of the Waco siege and the Oklahoma City truck bombing. So, you know, if you're into that, so you've had the double off, 2 days running. Carry on.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter. Oh, yeah, and Jesus come back from the dead as well. I mean, what else do you want? Yeah.
Well,
so you want to end it now? Should we just fuck it off and just say happy Easter? Yeah, well, that's poor fuckers died.
That's all from us. Bye for now. Right, racing review time. We're going to focus solely Craven meeting. That's where most of the main things happen that have affected certain anti-post markets, etc., and probably will have got more attention from John than what probably all weather finals day did. But I could be wrong on that because I've not spoke to him.
No,
Tuesday kicked us off on the first day, and I want to talk to you, John, about the Fielden Stakes. I think this is very strong form, and it was very welcome that one of our 5 to follow horses, the future Group 1 prediction, has got off to a great winning start here.
Absolutely. It could be argued that the ground went in his favour late on.
Yes.
But I think the fact that those two pulled well clear.
Yep, 7.5 wickets.
Yeah, would indicate this was a slightly more than alright Fielden. I think Night Walker's a fairly reliable marker to this rated 102. Green Storm, obviously, from Midland, pressing the pace as well. The race was evenly run. I don't think there's a lot to sort of take excuses out of that race. I think it was a really fair race.
It was, yeah.
I think Almeric can only progress from that.
The front two, in particular, are going to be very smart. Almeric, the one thing I would say, John, it was truly run, you're correct. They went some good, solid fractions. And they certainly slowed down by nearly a second, all of them, in the final furlong. So that shows you how decent they'd gone. Obviously, it's strong on the clock. It was a faster time than the Earl of Sefton, won by Pasika. So we're strong on the clock for the Time Lords. The only thing I'd say is, looking at its programme, it's not in the Derby, it's in the Dante and the Irish Derby. Now, let's say we own Almeric and not Kirsten Rousing.
Yeah.
Right? What are we thinking here? I think that was a hard enough race, and I wouldn't be rushing to back him if they ran in the Dante.
No, I wouldn't have thought they'd run there. The Dante wouldn't be suitable anyway. I think we'll wait for something like the Hampton Court at Ascot.
Do you think, though? Because obviously the Irish Derby's, I think, the 29th of June.
Yeah, you can take in the Hampton Court en route to the Irish Derby if you wanted.
Yeah.
The Hampton Court will tell you a little bit more about the horse, whether it be worth going to the Irish Derby on summer ground. I think on his 2 best efforts have come with a bit of dig. The Hampton Court might tell you to knock him on the head till September.
He races like he definitely wants cut.
Yeah, Kerry can get cut at the Derby meeting.
I described him as a bit of a tractor. That's why I was quite pleased when there was a good pace.
I think he's a good horse in the making, but I'd be a bit windy about him on quick ground.
Yeah, he'll definitely get 12, 100%. I'm adamant. That's not a problem. I think the second horse, King of Cities, is a little bit of a different profile. He'll get 10. He's got a bit more toe than Almeric, and I think he'd be fully effective back at a mile. I think he'll get 10, and I certainly think he's going to pick up something quite decent this season. Like I said, I do regard this form very strongly. I don't care what the ratings say or what ratings they're given.
I think you will can keep a lid on him. I wouldn't want him dancing every dance, which he might end up doing, given the yard he's coming out of.
Yeah. So moving on to the Nell Gwyn, Zanzoon was quite an impressive winner. She showed a lot of toe. I think connections are being smart here, but I don't really rate the race, if I'm honest, John. I think it's just
That looks shit, to be honest.
the fillies at this time of year, it's hard to be dogmatic because the winners was rated 83 coming in. You'd got Arabian Dusk on 108, Celestial Orbit 104. She showed some foot, but the time wasn't dazzling. A closing speed wasn't that dazzling. And they've already said no 1,000 guineas. It's going to be the French guineas, which tells you that.
For me, it's Arabian Dust 108 Amro Delfinorief.
Yeah, so there we are. It's a race that I wouldn't follow that form. You'll get random fillies that suddenly blossom throughout the summer because fillies in April, it's just impossible to see which has come to hand. We weren't at the track paddock-wise.
As it is in May, June, July and August.
Any month. Ask Nick Davis, he'll tell you. We'll come on to Wednesday, John, second day of the Craven meet. And of course, this is certainly a more interesting kind of day, shall we say, because of course, a blistering performance from Field of Gold, which I'll come on to with you in a second. But I think this is a top tip. It's a foresight tip from me. The 150 was the 6 furlong handicap won by the Charlie Hills trained Double Rush. Now, your favourite trainer.
Right.
This is a very, very useful animal. The sectionals back it up. It was faster than Field of Gold's last 3 furlongs, but they'd expect it to be over 6. But when you consider it was also a second faster than the Aberdeen, I think this is going to be massively strong handicap form. And looking at his sort of patterns and his lengthy stride, I think he's going to turn into a Jersey horse, John. They've earmarked a York handicap next over 7. Now, he'll dot up in that unless there's some stupid draw bias or he's drawn terribly or something. He'll go up 7 for that. It'll be off 92 in that 7 furlong York handicap at the Dante meet. He pisses up, basically. And then if he pisses up in that, then you're not going to be far off rated as a Jersey horse anyway, are you?
Well, he won't need to be that far off being rated that high, and he'll be perfectly happy to go for the Jersey, won't he? He won't need any encouragement.
I think this is a very useful horse because if you think Field of Gold is Guineas material, then you've got to think this lad can be competitive in something like a Jersey. So you can have the lot on him. If he's drawn okay at York over 7, and by that I don't mean like 17 or 17. If he's drawn sort of middle to low, you can punt him with absolute maximum confidence. I'd be a blogger on that one and take any price. So Double Rush is a massive follow for me, but as John will probably tell you later in the season, don't follow a Charlie Hills runner for too long. He might be done by June. John usually says about end of May, but there we go.
It's start of May. You got about a fortnight left for
Yeah.
us.
By the way, John, coming back to our old tipping shows, you always used to take piss out of me for saying it's a Burnham, isn't it? But you call it, is it Abernan?
Abernant, yeah. Not a Burnham.
All right, fair enough.
Not the Craven, is it?
Right, we come on to the Bet365 Craven. Of course, the major Guineas trial over the years, although it doesn't produce many Guineas winners statistically, does it, John? I don't think.
Nah, it's shit, really.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're making a fuss.
Was you impressed, though? Because there's a lot of talk that Ken, for example, said it needed the run.
Yeah, I disagree with Ken. I think it's pretty fit.
Yeah. Well, the money told you that. The late money on the machine it floods the cash late on for Field of Gold.
Experience tells me that Mr. Gosden doesn't leave a lot of meat on his pencil when he's getting one ready for a race.
Obviously very impressive. Everything backs it up. The horse has got speed, class. The miles good. Will get 10 as well this year. I'm certain he gets 10 if they want to.
Yeah, the race drawn a 10 furlong, hasn't she?
Yeah, as long as they get it to settle properly, then 10 will be no problem. So a well-run mile in May is not going to be an issue for Field of Gold. What are we saying? Is this the Guineas winner?
I think he probably is, and then we're going to have the best part of a month tedious fucking discussion about whether he should go to Epsom or whether he'll get 12 wrong. Because what could be panning out like a fairly open sort of year, they'll be casting the bread upon the waters and looking for a likely candidate. And if this has won the Guineas, The press are going to be all over it like a rash. Judgment probably won't be able to make the minds up now. Teddy's not there as a decisive, intelligent force as he is.
Yep.
So I think we'll be looking at a month-long debate about whether he runs the Epsom or not, and won't that be fun?
Yeah, I'm going to say it won't stay the 12 already. It won't get a well-run 12 at Epsom. No chance. I think it's 10 or a mile.
I don't like the track.
Yeah. Big horse. It's a big unit. I will say that. Like you say, it'd be more suited to, if it were mine, again, this is what we do if we own them, you'd go guineas. If it wins the guineas, you just go the simple route and you go St James Palace, don't you?
Yeah, and then if you were going to go up in trip, you'd maybe wait till
York International.
The Eclipse is your first 10 furlong race. That'd kill him.
Yeah.
Because that's too brutal for some reason.
Right, so we earn him, we go guineas,
SJP,
SJP, and we go international.
Judgment.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Well, what we probably do, we run ninth in the guineas and stand around scratching our heads and wish we'd sold him.
Yeah, actually, that.
That'd be more like us, wouldn't it?
Thursday, John, the third day, it's one of them days that's hardly worth discussing because they've ruined this meeting. They used to be free handicap, didn't they? That's gone. And Thursday's just an ordinary card. There's nothing.
There's nothing exciting about it. They've even done away with that good old manly quarter handicap, haven't they, for the 3-year-olds?
That Stout used to target.
You used to tail end the card and you used to get a potential Group 2 horse running in it most years.
They could bin that off, couldn't they?
Well, yeah. You get down to 2 days, there's no sweat. I would suggest that the Alex Scott maiden always tends to throw up a good horse, and I think that's probably the case this year. I might be looking at it a little bit with a rose tint as on, having had 2 runners in it myself when we started to follow, but I think that winner will prove to be useful at any rate.
Kaleido, I think it was like Neil Tolson that made the point. He sees him as like a Mishriff project. Don't you feel that like Oisin was very, very easy on him?
Oh, this was just an absolute float up. He travelled lovely, and then that was it. He didn't want to do anything with him after he. Once he'd done his running, that was it. And,
I'll be fair on Oisin here. It's as a punter, you probably want to see more if you bet it this day, but at the same time, he wouldn't have beat the winner on this occasion.
Race like this, you got to build a horse, and that was one way to build one. And you can maybe go on to the other extreme that was a bit further back, building one that, well.
Rafed, now, I know where this is going now.
Yes, same.
Ripon, John.
This is going somewhere wholly unsuitable over a mile maximum.
Yeah, Ripon.
Just before absolutely yanking up over 10 furlongs.
This is Ripon bound all the way. This is the Agus. If there's nothing suitable at Ripon, or you don't like the race makeup, it might even go to Hamilton.
Yeah.
And beat Scrap at 2-9 or something.
Yeah,
looking unimpressive. One of them that it's time to unload for John when it gets in handicaps. But so look out for Rafed as well in handicaps, as well as Kaleido.
I thought looked absolutely tremendous, by the way.
Which one, Kaleido?
Rafed. He was far and away my pick of that lot in that, and honestly, I think there's a massive performance in that fucker this year.
Done well from 2 to 3, you reckon?
Astonishingly well.
So I like the confidence, John. We're not going to say much about the all-weather finals. Very competitive racing, very difficult racing. Tailwind form. We managed to nail some winners for the pod.
Well, if you get a chance of a day out next year, go. That's what I'd say.
Yeah. It is competitive racing, but despite us doing quite well up pod, it's hard, isn't it? You pick winners out on that.
I thought, strangely enough, I thought James Knight made a good point.
Go on. It's rare.
As he said, it looks too hard.
Yeah.
He said it looks too hard. I think that was a fair point, really. It could do with a few conditions races and a couple of tidy maidens just to get the juices flowing a bit, and that and get your 40 and 50 quid men having a confident
Well,
bet.
it's like the old ground days, isn't it? A typical grader on a ground track would say you got a 10 race card, they didn't have monster, like something like that. There'd be 8 races that are fairly impossible, and they'd have 2 races where they'd put a stick-on job in, but punter that want to back a 5 to 4 shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's it. You're right. I'll give James credit there. He does have a point on that, sure.
Well said, James, friend of the show.
I won't push that by any means, because we've got a listener's comment on him coming up.
Okay,
That'll last about 10 minutes. Come on to some questions, RE Racing. Phileas Foghorn's been on. Some of the Godolphin horses were all over the place in the betting at that Craven meeting. Masai Moon, for example, 6-4, the 2-year-old, out to 13-2 SP and pisses up. Any thoughts on that, John?
Yeah, they're very hard to ride in the race.
Maybe they've lost some punters as work riders. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a mystery, really, isn't it?
I always say structure of a yard. If you've got 2 or 3 what you call punters, in other words, they've got punters that they give information to for money. I always think if 2 or 3 of them said jump ship or get moved somewhere else to America or Dubai or something like that, then there's nobody shipping info out, if you know what I mean. It's one of them. It can suddenly just change. If you've got somebody that's got 20 punters on his books, a work rider, and he's telling everyone that
He's so busy around fucking work, isn't he, really?
Fucking ringing them all up, chasing the money. You send me, you say £50, you send me 10. Why you only send me 10? Yes, to coin an example.
yeah, so Mr. Phileas Foghorn, that's about all we've got on that. Probably a hard yard to read. RD's been on. He said, ever since Lee followed the bear with his retro Hofmeister, he's turned into the second coming with his tips. What next? Chris on the Baby Sham.
Oh, no.
John Joe on the Watney's Red Barrel.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
What is the Watney's Red Barrel? Is it a bitter?
It was a famous 1970s drink, and I've just dropped a fag here, and it's caught fire to my trousers on the floor here. Hang on a minute. Oh, fuck, mate. Fucking hell. I've got hang on a second. I've got a hot rock here. Oh, fuck, mate. I have a small fire now. Hang on. I've got a one now. There you are. Fucking, fucking these trousers have gone up like a rocket. I don't... fucking bastard. Oh.
Are they supposed to be safe?
Fucking they're not. They're like these sort of polypropylene. They're like gone up like firework. Yeah, it's gone now.
Jeez.
Thank Christ. They're fucking stinking. It's fucking not safe on naked flames. Fucking hell. That was ooh,
you see on
brush with death there on the Führer's birthday as well. Fucking hell. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, vets, mate.
Yeah.
Beat that.
We're setting ourselves on here.
Yeah, we self-immolate for listeners. Yeah, we'll set ourselves on fire for money. Yeah, send money in. We'll do it live next week. Yes.
That's classic. Classic live.
Nothing scripted.
Absolutely.
Dear me.
Just great. Another interesting question from Grumpy Punter. How has one of the UK's premier tracks in Newmarket allowed such a pronounced rails bias to occur year in, year out? And why are jockeys so stupid as not to realise there is one every year in, year out? Absolutely punting nightmare of a track these days. I thought either rail was quite favourable for the 3 days, particularly the last day, the far rail in particular was most favourable, John. Would you agree with that?
I would.
So why is it happening?
It's like Grumpy Punter says, really. It's just got worse and worse and worse. And you can only assume it just stems from this catalogue of overwatering and biases seem to develop and they can't do anything about it.
And don't forget, this is a new Clark, isn't it?
You end up with a running railing, you know. I mean, the Wood Ditton was limited to 20 runners this year, you know. I mean, in times past, they wouldn't have given a flying fart if there'd been 800 declared for the Wood Ditton. Because they used to race the full width of the sodding track.
That'd be some set of stalls.
It's a spring. The Rolling Mile is a spring and autumn course, you know. They're not racing on it all year. They could race the full width of the track. Bang the stalls in the middle, and it's that far to the fucking rails, nobody wants to bother going. They choose not to. They've divided both courses, haven't they? Both are worse for it, I would suggest.
Obviously, it's to do with watering, because it's, to be fair though, it used to happen at Yarmouth back in the day. I'm going back a long time.
Yeah.
If you had like 18 runner handicaps at Yarmouth on straight course, stall 1 and stall 18. It's again, it was like Thirst back in the TriCast form. You could have one particular side. The problem was back in the day, the old watering systems were very vulnerable to wind. Obviously, wind's blowing one way, it's going to blow up water that it's putting on track to one particular side.
Absolutely.
So unless you could watch it yourself while they're watering, it might be able to get young Louis McIver on the job for that, you know. Watch them watering, learn something, then he can cook.
He wouldn't stay put. He'd go and want to talk to one of his punters or something.
It's not acceptable, Grumpy Punter, is it? But this is the punting variances that we all have to suffer, I'm afraid. And we'll come on to hit me with your going stick in a bit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
not this again. This stirred up people's anger, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. People's getting excited over this one. Anyway, another racing question. Frank Roberts' question for the sermons. I'd like to hear Lee on this as well. Makes a change. I never get asked to answer a question. It's usually John's answer they're waiting for, or Chris's 3-minute
Monologue.
Yeah.
Rubbish. Yeah.
He says, which trainer have you changed your opinion on of most of the last 5-10 years? Most improved and biggest regression? John, I'm coming to you to get your opinion on this first. So you think it's getting the hang of things? It's the last 5 years?
In view of the fact he's in a red hot streak at the minute, it sounds a bit manufactured, but I would say Andrew Baldwin has come through as a particularly tidy trainer at the minute.
Why do you think that is?
Because I do think he's finally getting his own methods and not following his vastly overrated father.
I hope they listen.
Well,
Their lawyers certainly do, that's for sure. So, yeah.
Well, evening, Claire.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Claire. I think we had to defend Claire is she had to put up with Carson for years. That's got to be a mammoth task in itself.
Yes.
If it was up to me, she'd be sharing a cell with Carson, so she'd still be putting up.
Carson would be eating a tea. Don't you want yours? He's like that. Right, my one would be, I don't think he's fully flourished yet, but I'm going to say, I think at first I didn't rate George Scott.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. Not at first.
No.
No. Because I just felt that he was just maybe overtraining him, too keen to get them ready. And I think he's learning on the job, and I think he's much better now.
12 months of me banging on about the fucker in me notes.
It is, I think. Well, that's it. You've made me look, really, as well. So George Scott, I think, eventually is going to get a lot of good owners. I think he's one to keep an eye on in terms of...
He needs to get out the podcast game. His podcast with fellas is shit.
Yeah. Not like this.
Totally shit.
Well-drilled, professional.
Biggest regression, John? Who would you say is gone backwards a bit?
At risk of antagonising Jumps fans, I would say the Tizard outfit's gone back a fair old
I mean, they started off as shit. Now they're total fucking shit, aren't they?
Well, they were having Gold Cup fancied horses and the occasional...
They're lucky though, weren't they?
Grade 1 winner, weren't there? And no, I think they sort of ceased to be a threat in the top.
Yeah, exactly. They just got really, really lucky with a crop of horses, and that's that.
A less obvious one from me is Charlie Fellows.
Yeah, well, he seems crap to begin with, wasn't he? And now he's double crap.
When I'm looking through, particularly 3-year-old handicap form now, if I see one strain by him that it's caught me eye in running, I actually don't put it in my tracker.
No.
The other half of the podcast.
Who? Charlie Fellows?
Yeah.
Was that the George Scott?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really? Oh my God, didn't know that. I thought this fucking podcast, there's a fourth fella in we never hear from.
Yeah, this is like the song and it torn between two lovers.
Exactly, yeah. A slightly different tune to the original, but near enough. Yeah.
I can't do that on karaoke.
No,
I can only do Brian Ferry, Jealous Guy. It's the only song I can do.
I'd rather you didn't, but anyway, go on.
Not going there. John, that's weird. I didn't even know they did a pod together.
Oh.
You should listen to it. It'll book you up and make you feel just so good. I was saying.
What was wrong with it? What was wrong with it, John? In a nutshell, I've never listened to it.
Well, George Scott and Charlie Fellows in it.
Okay, then there you are.
I've cheered one half up on that podcast and made the other one totally miserable. And I'm sure you'll take my criticism with a pinch of salt, as most people do in the industry.
And he'll have 30 winners on the bounce now, Charlie Fellows.
We actually will.
He should take heart from that, genuinely, because we're our biggest box around. He'll fly now, so keep an eye on him.
Right, coming on to Steve B. He says Ollie Bell was seen criticising Oisin Murphy's ride on the Balding Horse at Newcastle.
Rightly so.
Old Harrovian.
And I thought he made some valid points. My own thoughts on Murphy at the moment is I beseech you to watch certain rides Oisin has given in the last week. He was very strong on the Balding Horse, Berkshire, Whisper, and the All Weather Champ. Very strong in the closing stages. The old Oisin there. And there's been some rides this week where is his mind there? Maybe it's wrong to sort of suggest something like that. This isn't the Oisin that I knew from previous seasons. It's not as a whole. It's giving some pretty weak, lackluster efforts. And I don't know if that's by design because connections have got other targets, or I don't know if this is just Oisin that's got a different riding style or something. Because when he's riding to win, and I mean really, really win, he doesn't miss them. There's some good cracks given and very strong. And then there's other times, and it wouldn't knock flies off a bucket of shit when he's sort of like asking them to go. It's like kind of weird. It's like two different people that's in the saddle. I can't work him out. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that there's any merit to my argument, but it's what I've noticed years of watching the sport. Then, of course, Megan and Adele circled the wagons, Steve B says, and he just gave it the old smoke blowing, no, you're an idiot. Or what do we think?
Yeah, they made assholes of themselves, didn't
I
they?
think
Really?
so. I think it could be criticised. And with Oisin obviously then apologising publicly, he obviously thought himself that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's kicked the stool away from under Megan and Adele straight away.
Absolutely, as if to say,
They need to be next toe to apologise now.
Like Barney Kelly, yous are talking rubbish,
Yeah. You know nothing about racing. You're a takeout merchant. Yeah, all that old shit. The biggest takeout merchant in the lot, Barney Curly, but there we are, my own view. But yeah, it was a little bit embarrassing. But of course, those two, reverted to type, didn't they? They circle the wagons. You shan't criticise jockeys. How many winners have you ridden? But when the rider himself comes out and says, that his performance was suboptimal, makes him look a little bit foolish, doesn't it? But they won't care, will they? They'll just march on regardless.
No one's bothered. No one's bothered. Coming on to Rap Podcast, he goes, anyone genuinely give a brass shiny shite about the National Trainers Championship? I have as much interest as who makes the championship playoffs. Hugh Brampton Files has been on with this as well and says, is the system fair in terms of prize money won? Would you just do it on number of winners, or would you just do it on? But all right, let's say if we did care. Let's say if the three of us did care.
Don't, but go on. We'll have to suspend our disbelief. But let's pretend we did. All right, go.
We really do care because we get paid to care. Let's
I care a lot now. I'm Mr. Care. Go on, yes.
You're the original Care Bear now, aren't you?
I'm caring for all three of us.
Mr. Men by Roger Hargreaves.
Mr. Care. Mr. Corporate Shill. Yeah, that's me. Go on, yes. We'll say out for money. Go on.
Do you have a different point system? Do you have number of winners? John, is it fair that Mullins can say have a good Cheltenham and win national, and he just ends up then deciding?
Just because you care doesn't mean you need to put a lot of thought into it. Most winners gets an ashtray inscribed.
Yes.
What, thrown at him? Like a frisbee?
Gorilla hand ashtray.
Well, yeah, frisbee.
Those ones from the 70s.
Frisbee by the producer.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. So coming on to racing news this week, obviously, did you read the thing about that stable lad?
Yes, I did.
The stable lad bet. Incredible.
Yeah. Yes, it's extraordinary, isn't it?
So this stable lad has had a £30 each way double last year, so over a year ago. 125 to 1 winner and an 80 to 1 winner and an each way double, obviously lined up. It's a typical sort of, and he's due over €300,000 from Entain, which is an astonishing amount of money for probably somebody that's on.
Well, for anybody, isn't it?
Anybody, but minimum wage, especially lads already probably dreamt that evening.
Spent it.
What am I going to do with this? Well, he's yet to be paid 12 months later. Paid out, and Entain used the excuse that there was an HRI inquiry into the racers, this, that, and the other. Well, HRI have since come back and said, no, betting purposes, you're paying. It's one of them things. And they've asked him for all these details, documents. He's provided them.
All the stuff he's supposed to provide before.
Yeah, all that shit. One. But he did this in a shop as well. It's a proper docket. It's a betting slip. It's not online. He's gone in physically, placed the bet. It was accepted.
Right, yeah. So it's not a surrogate or anything like that. That's cool. So, no, he's wandered in, had cash money.
This is disgraceful of Entain. ACL's been on. And he said, Entain Welsh on paying out a winning bet. And for once, James Knight has no opinion.
You said this is what the Gambling Commission should be all about.
Yeah. That it's not their jurisdiction because it's Ireland. Apparently, Ireland's sort of arbitrary.
Well, Ireland's equivalent or whatever, I mean, there needs to be somebody other than the Lone Ranger sorting these bookmakers out and making sure they adhere to the rules and pay people out properly.
If
It's
there's any
disgrace.
lawyers listening to this show, what I mean,
Harry Stewart Moore listening.
he does. And Chris, what I would say is, you mentioned this the other week about like funding legal funds. If this was you, wouldn't you not like sacrifice obviously some of your winnings to get absolutely expert legal counsel?
Yeah, you would. I mean, you'd want counsel's opinion, wouldn't you? In the first, I don't know how it works in Ireland, but presumably you instruct a solicitor, you pay some money on the case. I'd get counsel's opinion that would try and give me a clue as to whether. I mean, we don't know all the facts, but based on what you've said, it would appear to be a slam dunk. But we've seen this sort of bad behaviour by big corp in the past with sort of mass consumer claims, like the Plevin type hidden commission type claims, where you have a Supreme Court ruling that says, yep, you banks must pay. And what the banks do is, there's no wriggle room, but what they try and do is hide behind the sheer volume of cases to justify the massive delays in people getting their repayments. And the banks know that people who aren't necessarily on no win, no fee type things will eventually run out of money. And it's really poor behaviour by the corporates. So I dare say, maybe the bookmakers in this instance are just simply hanging on to the winnings and see what happens. So I think, the lad does need to apply some pressure somehow. He will get paid. I think what he needs to do is kick up a huge fucking stink. Because remember, the amount of money in question is a rounding error in their annual accounts. He's not going to bankrupt them. But I think he just needs to make a lot of fuss. That's what he needs to do if he can't afford a lawyer.
I'd get Richard Littlejohn and Peter Hitchens to both write pieces in their Daily Mail columns.
Yeah, and say if we get the money, you give you $1,000 a piece.
Yeah, precisely. He needs to offer some kind of inducement. But look, some kind of no win, no fee type lawyer, or I don't know. I don't know whether that's sort of lawful in Ireland. I think it might be. Whereby the individual gives up a piece of the winnings or a percentage of his uplift on his CFA or similar, something of that arrangement. He needs to incentivize people to go into bat for him if he can't do it himself.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd have done it a long time ago, I think.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
I'd have done it straight away. I wouldn't have waited a year.
Yeah, makes you wonder what's gone on, but perhaps he is a little bit overawed by the situation. Perhaps he kind of in good faith has produced his documents, thinking, oh well, it's good, it's fine, it's not a problem. And look, when people, it's a trail of breadcrumbs. Oh, another month, it'll be another month, and eventually you're staring down the barrel of a year. But at some point he's got to jump off and say, no, fuck you, I want my money.
No hesitation. And anybody else in the same situation where you've got funds in an account where the bookmaker's refusing to pay, as long as they've got a trading address, take them to court, simple as. Particularly if it's an amount under £10,000, because that obviously can go to a small claims court that anyone can just do.
I'll get the WWE on board and get The Rock to do a piece on camera.
Yeah.
Well, he'd have the $100,000 off you, so there'd be fuck all in it for you, would you?
Yeah, at least you'd call them out.
Yeah, he just needs to get.
If your candy ass is paid up, you just smell what The Rock is.
If you're willing to waste $200,000, you might get Taylor Swift.
He might be.
Right, on to Bloodstock. Of course, Ammo blasting the cash on Breeze Ups, John. Benjamin says, can we tuck on Sheikh Mo doing his conkers on an acclamation cult? And of course, Ammo sales topper at 1.75 million guineas. John, I don't think you're a fan of Breeze Up horses, are you?
No. Because you don't get many of them coming through, really.
Well, I would think it's same. Horses that can proven to run quick. Don't get me wrong, do get some, but I haven't got the stats on it. But I would much rather buy a horse, I think, on looks from and get a second opinion off another paddock expert to say this, how it walks. For example, I know a friend of mine, Christian Strangeway, he uses Kevin Ross Bloodstock to buy his, and Kevin would be an advocate of how they walk. That would be his strength in noticing how they walk, and that would promote soundness, John. So at least if you weren't getting some that were rated 110, you'd be getting something that's likely to be sound.
There's no finer sight than one walking towards you, slapping them front paws down with ultimate confidence.
Yes, I do think that's a big thing. having listened to people in the industry, that's one of the main things that I would ask. I'd love a Kevin Ross if I was back in the game to sort of purchase for me if I like one as well. And then he said, yeah, this it's a good walker, you're fine. Then that would give me ultimate confidence to go ahead and buy it if I like the breeding lines. But these horses that can just run fast, there's no guarantees they're going to train on. And
Oh, look half crazed.
Yeah.
God knows what they're training.
Well, at least it's gone to the right home because obviously the ammo horse was, of course, pin up by Malcolm Bastard.
I mean, all joking apart, to get some of these making the shapes they're making at this stage of the careers, they must be shoving painkillers the size of house bricks up their asses before they go out to race.
Totally agree. It's a different game, isn't it? In 12 months' time, it's completely different. As you would well know, John, it is what it is. Right, we move on to the going... Hit me with your going stick. Yes, this is a remarkable debate after Jack's fantastic interview last weekend, Clerk of the Course, James Sanderson. And it appears the Sandersons, John, have declared war on the BHA.
I'm delighted to see this because these are proper stick ratings now. These are what I mean. These are the type of stick ratings I can relate to back in the day.
If everyone aligns with James and John Joe, right, at Redcar and gives out the proper readings, then at least then we know that they've all been massaging them just to appease the BHA. Like, because we're all wondering, how the fuck have we gone from 11.5 to 8 for Good to Firm? Good to Firm was 11.5 back in 2008 at Thirsk.
Well, that was my big head scratcher that I asked Jack to ask about, which he didn't, by the way.
Terrible interviewer is Jack. In all fairness, the annoying thing, the Sandersons, I'm really furious at the amount of criticism they've received, to be honest. I really am. And AK mentioned at midweek, said, it's just because they've given you their time. That's not true.
You can be furious at it, but I don't think you can be surprised at it, Ollie. You know, because there's an awful lot of people. I mean, our own Nick Davis, for example, has a fantastic chart on our website, plug, with the extremities of the going readings for each course. To find out that half of those might be made up, you can see Nick reverting to type and getting the Stanley knife out, couldn't you, really? And
we're ruled by numbers in the real world, and this is it. It's a number. Everything's a number. 4% of these people are this, and 2% of people are this, and numbers seem to rule our thinking. When James laid it on the line, didn't he, in that interview? He just said, look, if I've been walking this track 15 years, no one knows that course better than me. I can give an accurate reading at that point in time. I'm confident I can. Doesn't like the stick because it produces random readings that doesn't agree with him whatsoever. Should he produce that number? Possibly. That's an argument you can sort of say because that's the BHA director.
Well, it looks like he has this way.
Yeah, so he just said, here you go, then it's 10.9.
Which I personally wouldn't have had a problem with if that had been right the way through, but I don't know how many, I haven't been keeping tally how many non-runners Thirsk have had or what reasons they've given for non-runners.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be my issue. I do not have that information at hand where I could counter James Sanderson and say, no, you should have given the proper numbers because you'd have only lost 3 runners per meeting or whatever, because I don't know.
That ground last Saturday rode exactly as described. So
yeah, but what we could say as well is that ground would have rode exactly as described, even if that stick rating had been 10.
Yeah.
You could have given us 10 rating, described it as Good to Firm, and it would have ridden as Good to Firm.
Coming to you now, because what are we saying about the media this week? So just to highlight what's happened this week, the Racing Post obviously have latched onto it, disgracefully mentioning the source, which is bad journalism, not good journalism practice, to mention a podcast.
Yeah.
That is disgraceful behaviour, right? They followed that up with Chris Cook, that, again, mentioned the Racing Post interview.
Well, they've hung him out to dry, haven't they? Yeah.
But again, nothing about the original interview. Borders Press, whoever it was, Kelso, whoever up there, did an article on it, right? Failed to mention us, failed to mention anything to do with that we'd done the interview. On the comments section, it has to be approved. Yeah. They've approved other comments. We asked them for a name check. They haven't even published our comment.
No.
It's disgraceful, right? And then look on Sunday today. if anyone watched Luck on Sunday, Nick Luck fantastically name-checked us, right, which was brilliant. Thank you, Nick Luck.
Well, it wasn't fantastic. I mean, he's just observing basic journalistic courtesy. I mean, I get you, please, in the context of not being mentioned is good, but I mean, that's what
In
he
this
should
climate,
do.
it was fantastic.
Yes, you know, in context, yeah, absolutely right. I agree with you, but he's just doing what a journalist should do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's what they're meant to do.
Then you watch the body language of Dave Yates, which
Yeah.
was that was absolutely hilarious.
He's not a journalist, is he? Let's be he's a writer.
As Nick Luck mentioned our
Mhm.
name,
Yes.
right? He started checking his head as a no. I've watched it. I don't watch podcasts.
But if you're a fucking journalist, if you don't watch it, then you're incompetent, or you don't listen, or you're not aware at least, then you are incompetent. But if you are aware of it, then he's a liar, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's being truthful there, to be honest.
No, he's either incompetent or a liar,
because he's had probably upwards of 200,000 views. So for you to ignore that as a racing journalist,
it's rubbish. It's just nonsense.
I think you're talking out your ass.
You remember what's a job on the BH,
yeah? He's just another deeply peculiar, meagerly talented hack. You know, you wouldn't have him as a stringer on a fucking local paper. No. These people must think that Christmas has come early, that they managed to hold down these jobs, writing badly about a sport they love. Yeah. I mean, they've swum the channel, won the lottery, whatever cliche you want to use, because nobody else would employ them to do this. I mean, Yates has done nothing to highlight affordability checks or to champion punters' rights. What does he do? I don't know. I've no idea.
It's like punters off on the show, the ones that cry bent and
people that pay his fucking wage.
Horrible. He's vile. He's absolutely vile.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
The prat in a cravat. Fuck off, Yates.
Yeah, he's a dick. I mean, what kind of grown man wears a fucking cravat in this day and age?
Yeah, an idiot.
What, we're in the 1700s? Fuck off.
Joe, I did find interesting though on Look on Sunday today was the fact that both Richard Hughes and Richard Hannon both said they didn't look at the going stick. They go on the clock of the course's description, which I find interesting to say the least, because it's like, well, all the fucking hoo-ha is like over this fucking going stick, turf tracks. They all got like a stake in turf tracks, this lot, something.
I don't know, but what is most depressing, but to answer your original question is that you know, that Tom Kerr from the Racing Post has hung Chris Cook out to dry, hasn't he? He really has. I mean, Chris Cook was a top man at The Guardian, right? Yeah. Widely respected. Now, you know, I don't know if anyone's checked out the Private Eye. He's getting the piss taken out of him by Private Eye, but because he's been told to forsake his basic journalistic integrity, I think. Yeah. I mean, he you know, he's having to toe the line to follow the mantra that Kerr is, which he's preaching to promote the agenda of his corporate masters. It's just disgusting. But the whole thing, the Racing Post, these are client journalists now. This is as much journalistic integrity as Pravda, I think.
Bad stuff.
A shit comic written by idiots.
Questions on this and points. Steve Mustard, a lot of industry talk off the back of Jack's Thirst-going scoop interview, but no credit given to Jack. Typical of the closed shop racing media.
Yeah, well, Mickey Mouse, isn't they?
Davis said, instead of generalising the stick readings as on their site, why don't the BHA Racing Post work with courses to do their own ranges? I've got my personal ones, so why can't they do the same with more resources? Good point. Purse has been on and said, Richard Hughes was another suggesting an independent going stick. Would you support this, or does the clerk of the course know his own ground best? Well, you've answered the old question. What do you think? Yeah. If I walk my back garden every day and I know fucking worms pop up in a certain section, you're going to do better than a stranger. The only use an independent panelist will bring is a second opinion. Yeah. So James Sanderson says good to firm, good in places at 10.9. The independent inspector might say firm. I don't know. That's where we're at. The going stick, the faith in it, for me, it's like some kind of like religious altar.
It is.
As James has pointed out, it gives out funny readings at times. And also, what about if someone at 20 stones shoving it in compared to somebody at 8 stones shoving it in? Let's say Clark, of course, don't get up one day and say, will you do it? And it happens to be 20 stone catering management. You know?
Yeah, he's eating all the pies, Fucking, eating all the breakfast.
You know,
it's true, though.
In danger of getting a bit stereotypical.
I don't give a fuck, really.
Yeah.
Assuming that the catering managers are glutton.
Gluttonous slob.
Absolutely. They usually are.
Well, yeah.
Bastards, isn't they? At the end of the day, it's a fucking stick.
Yeah.
People are kind of, as you say, it is almost sort of, it's kind of pre-Christian idolatry of objects, isn't it? It's a stick.
It is.
You know, would you rather have the opinion of a stick or somebody that's walked that turf for the last 20 years and knows every blade of grass?
It's
I know which I'd rather have faith in, but no, let's all worship the stick.
Yeah. No, I like it. Trainer strike. This is something that can racing come together.
Oh, depends. Depends who you're coming with, isn't it?
It didn't make it racing,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, they whirled it round on track. Keith Cruddens, Beckett and friends. I grew up witnessing the hardship and sacrifices of dockers and miners. I don't think the middle-class trainers and wealthy owners have the stomach or solidarity for a fight.
Nope.
It's a good point. This thing is, right, this is about poor prize money, how the trainers, we got a race cancelled at Southall today because of poor prize money for the level. I would like to see more of this personally, because obviously the prize money is key for racing and owners, especially when they promise stable staff for racing on a Sunday that they get more money for doing so, and gone back to the old class 6 0 to 55s worth a bag of nuts. This is where Big Corp claim they don't need horse racing, but yet they do need horse racing because they keep wanting to put it on at unsociable hours. Again, when families should be at home at Easter, not having to, and if you are racing, then you're getting rewarded for doing so, as in overtime and double pay, whatever, which yards can't afford, but they could afford if, of course, the prize money was greater. So it is a fair point. On to 3 funnies now before we finish. Tony Earnshaw's been on. Who in racing has blocked you on X?
Well, everybody.
Yeah, for me, Tony McCoy and just about everyone else, and James Milner.
Yeah.
I'll just name check a few because there's probably more, because you'd have to go on the profile to check whether they've blocked you, and I don't know. But the main ones for me are Paul Nichols, racing blogger,
obviously,
Ben Keith, all the right ones basically. Next, Simon Rowlands.
You're still giving him 30 quid a month or whatever for his time figures.
Yeah, something like that. Like the sections, not for much longer though. It finishes this month. The Buffy's end this month, because I've got some new data coming. And who's the other one that was interesting? I thought that had done it. Oh, Jim McGrath, the At the Races, former Channel 4.
Starry Eyes, Starry Eyes. Fucking now, imagine him fucking staring at you. Christ, do you ever look at? He never used to blink, did he, when he was broadcasting?
No. John, who's blocked you?
Jim McGrath, racing blogger, Simon Rowlands. Off the top of my head, that might be it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know, would you, until you go on the profiles?
No, most of them I wouldn't check the profiles out anyway. There's very few racing people who I actually check up on what they're posting and what they're not.
Yeah.
Because I'm not particularly interested in the views of many of them, really.
Chris, obviously everyone blocks you, don't they?
Well, yeah, do you know what? It sounds really awful, but I don't know, because I don't check. I don't really care whether they do or not.
No.
Because it's all about me, remember. I'm not interested in other people's opinion. You see, that's it. I'm a complete psychopath, devoid of empathy, so I couldn't give a shit what anyone else thinks. But I imagine it's everybody.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right, I've got an Easter egg question coming up. So what I thought...
Can we actually win an actual egg?
No, I thought you'd get excited because you like sweet shops.
I am.
Things
Cool,
you've got sweet
me, do I? Oh, yes, we know about that. Yes, we'll draw a veil over that. And that's not a euphemism.
Yeah. Have you got an Easter egg today? Have you been bought one?
No. Get this. This is even better. Right, the father-in-law, who hates me, is a very, very, very good judge of character.
Yeah.
He bought a load of Easter eggs for my children, and my daughter is spending the day with a new gentleman friend. So my wife, in an uncharacteristic moment of charity, says, she can't be bothered to come back and eat the dinner. You may as well have the egg she's been bought. So I've eaten her Easter egg. What a cunt, eh? What a bastard.
What was it?
Fucking Kit Kat, mate. Really good one as well. Big Kit Kat. Not the Mickey Mouse one, real massive one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've had the lot.
So you've demolished a Kit Kat egg today?
Fucking destroyed it. Yeah. Honestly.
John, what would be your favourite Easter egg?
There wouldn't be any point. Nobody would ever buy me an Easter egg.
If you were going at shops, right, and you think, would it be Kinder Buenos or?
No. I'd be old school. I'd be one of them Thornton's ones at 3'6"
Oh,
chocolate, isn't it?
Yeah, Thornton's. That's what my daughter likes, actually, Thornton's.
Yeah, they're good.
The producer looked after me today. I think she bought me 4 eggs. 4 eggs.
Oh, you fat bastard.
Yeah,
what ones
yeah.
were they?
Twirl, Ferrero Rocher. I've got.
Has she increased the insurance premium?
She's
Like?
fucking packing it in, mate.
She's probably took one out.
Yeah, secret one. Yeah.
There's a Terry's chocolate orange popping candy one.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I get this down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have 20 Bensons to
Pop-
finish it off. Well, I
pop-
don't smoke. Well, you do now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pop till you drop
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. That's great.
Anyway,
Tremendous.
so a question on the Easter eggs. Neil Watson has been on. He said, on a lighter note, who in racing would you actually buy an Easter egg for? John?
Absolutely no one.
That's,
You would even send Harriet one. You love Harriet Bethel as trainer.
yeah.
I probably would, yeah. I'd probably just send Harriet half of my Thornton's one.
Yeah, all wrapped up in
Yeah.
newspaper. Bite marks in it, yeah.
Yeah, rewrapped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bite bitten in half. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, anyone in racing, you'd buy one?
I would buy the lovely Charlotte Russell an Easter egg. That's what I would do.
Go racing in Yorkshire.
Yes.
Our
Give her a
favourite
plug.
Charlotte Russell.
Yes, it is.
I'd probably... No, actually, wouldn't. I've just thought about
Would
this.
you not? Oh, you mean bastard.
No, because I just thought about, like, Joanna Mason, I think, is fantastic as a jockey.
Yep.
I think she's
Yes.
great on social media. I think promotes the sport, everything else.
Yeah.
So I'd probably buy her one, but then
Buy a
fucking
new bar of soap, was it?
Mick could take it, wouldn't he, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, that off there straight away. Be looking after her weight, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Oh, you can't eat that. Can't eat that, Joe. Can't eat that. No, you're
You
riding
see
for me on Tuesday. Can't eat that.
Yeah.
Final question, as always. Sam the cat in the house, once again. Been doing the rounds this week. Some good purse, actually,
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah,
I think he's made some really good salient points. Some
I
people...
think he's been given a sack from work because he's on it all day and all night now.
I think it's it. He's got his own career.
On job seekers.
2026 Easter Sunday, fancy dress, charity race.
Oh.
Everyone in racing has been invited. Racing media, journos, sporting participants, now and past.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be great guests and what fancy dress costume would suit them? Maybe just to piss them off or to look good.
I'd get George Scott and Charlie Fellows there as Smashy and
Yeah,
Nicey.
could be. Do a lot for charity.
Obviously, friend of the show over at Midland, Mark Johnston, Evening Mark, would have him as Biggles.
Yeah, he could. Yeah. Or kamikaze pilot or something.
Richard Hoyles could probably go as any top golfer in the 1980s. He wouldn't even
Pro
need
celebrity
exchange.
golf.
Exactly. Yeah. Pro celebrity bore. Yeah. A bore on the 19th hole.
Yeah.
With him and fucking Brad Scott or somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might be it, really.
For me, you'd dress Bruce Scott up as Vincent Price, wouldn't you? Like,
Well, you would, yeah.
some kind of
You would.
Dracula outfit, you know.
Not Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, yeah, not Vincent Price, yeah, Nosferatu, yeah.
Yeah.
The undead, fuck me.
Definitely Bruce Scott. Like,
Oh,
Another one wouldn't need to get changed.
Tales from the Crypt, isn't it? Fuck me. Yeah. They seem to exhume him every meeting now, don't they, for something?
yeah.
I'm not quite sure what he adds, actually, but there you go.
Chris, what would be your choice?
I've nothing to add, really. I think they're really good suggestions. I mean, I don't know, really. I mean, Samuel the Cat's questions are ever more Byzantine in their complexity, aren't they? I mean, you'd probably need half hour to work out the answer, wouldn't you? So I think he needs to dumb it down because I think he's bowling his middle stump every week now with these complicated fancy dress scenarios. I mean,
you'd have no problem if you threw a Buffy on that day because Mick and David Easterby had come just as normal, dressed as normal, and just said,
yeah, just the old black bin bag.
Say, are you eating that? Can we box that up?
Yeah, can we box that up, love? Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. And they think the poor girls that are doing the work think they're going to give them a little drink at the end. Well, they fuck. Just the old bin bags come in and out, don't they?
That's it.
No.
Right. Fun show to do, folks. I hope you learned plenty and got plenty out of it. We've certainly enjoyed doing it. And we're back same time next week discussing more absolute rubbish. That's all from us. Bye for now.